Hello, this is a Leshark and Friends
and Russell
podcast. And on today's show, we're talking to shipwreck hunter Dave Thomas. South African Dave, the Dman, DT, came to Phuket via Cardiff, possibly through the Panama Canal or the Suez Canal, not sure which. Dave came to Phuket for cricket. Not that type of cricket, this type of cricket. Yep, I'll just leave that one out there and let you find out more by listening. We like Dave. He's a cool guy. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the podcast.
Can I finish my Bakewell tart first?
No.
Oh, I'm just going to stir my tea, and you lay on, Macduff.
Ooh. I don't like Russell today.
No,
just for a change.
Eating marzipan.
David Thomas, the legend, the guru.
Oh, Dave.
That Dave.
Why did you say so?
Dave, Joanna's friend Dave.
There's not many Daves around.
Is it
Confuse me with many people.
Are you a Dave or a David?
It depends. Either or.
Davey?
No.
What
The D-Man?
The D-Man. I like that. Have you ever been called the D-Man?
No.
DT?
No, first time.
DT, we've called you
DT,
rugby before, I think.
yeah. First time. But I quite like that.
What, DT?
D-Man.
Or D-Man?
D-Man, yeah.
I like
The
D-Man.
D-Man.
The D-Man.
Right, that's it from now on.
That's it. The D-Man.
Yeah. Thanks for
from
being on
now
the
on I
podcast.
shall be known
That's
as
it, yeah. I'll
David
change you on
Thomas,
my phone
Dave
now.
Thomas, the D-Man Thomas, the DT. How are you, mate? As he's drinking his soda.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much.
When did you get to Phuket?
Long time ago. I can't even remember now. At least 10 years ago.
Okay.
At least 10 years. How long have we known each other?
Well, I'm just trying to work back through sort of rugby tens competitions as to which ones we started pitching.
That's how we do it, through rugby 10 competitions.
It's at least
It's got to be 12, maybe. Yeah.
No, I've been here 15. Did you play when they were in Phuket town?
I was here though. I didn't play in that one.
Right, so that's at least 12, maybe more.
Russell and David just having a private
Play.
chat.
When we say play, we
and
mean
not worried about the podcast
Yeah,
that we're on.
yeah.
They're still chit-chatting away.
Sorry.
So you got here 10 years ago.
So we
Dave.
reckon about somewhere between around about 12, circa 12 years. Thank you. Carry
figures.
Why? What brought you
Why?
here?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
That's the
I
idea.
think about it, but it was basically cricket. If
What?
you can imagine that. I came here for cricket.
You came here because of cricket?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I'm not being funny, mate, but on your way to Lord's, you turn left.
And you get to the Qatar Sports Ground, Karan Sports Stadium, even.
That
where
was
it
a
was.
horrible place, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I mean, it was a
yeah.
nice stadium, but it was just playing
The
rugby on
bricks and the
sand and
stones
gravel.
and, hideous injuries. Yeah, so
Cricket?
yeah. As we know, it's the source of life. So everything we do should really revolve around cricket. So that's why I came here, because I was at work and one of these guys that I was working with, an Aussie, he said, "Oh, you should come and play cricket, mate, down in Phuket. It's really good. There's a tournament. There's players. There's from all over the world." So I didn't need much more convincing. I was like, I didn't have anything else going on. So I said, "Yeah, I'll come," and that was it. And then I stayed.
It was the Sixers tournament,
It was,
wasn't it?
yeah. Phuket Cricket Sixers.
You might have to explain cricket to Jay.
Well, no, I understand cricket. Cricket's not the issue. The issue to me is you're at work and someone said, "Oh yeah, why don't you come and live in Phuket because they could play cricket there?" Now, in my humble opinion, there's other nations around the world that are a little bit more famous for cricket than Caron Stadium in Phuket.
He might have a point there, to be
Such
fair.
as, I worked in Antigua, which is what's known as the West Indies, where there was cricket. And I played cricket on the beach at Lashins, which is a very famous cricket place run by Richie Richardson, who was just a legend and a drunk dude. I also have worked in other places where they play cricket. I've never known of Thailand and cricket. This doesn't make any sense to me.
I didn't have an option. It didn't say Phuket or Antigua. I would have might have gone, okay, I'll give Antigua a go. It was just Phuket, and that's it. I have to take it or leave it. So
Where were you
I was like,
living?
yeah, I took
Where were you
it.
living at the time?
I was in Cape Town.
Which is another cricket nation. So they don't play cricket there?
Well, the thing is, they're a bit too good at cricket there. I can't get in the team.
So for me to get in the team.
So you wanted to play cricket? So you're like one of these guys that said, I'm quite good at cricket. I'm not going to make English county cricket, so I'll move to South Africa. More choice of cricket. No, I'm not going to make it there. I'll go to Phuket. I'll definitely get in the cricket team there.
Yeah, maybe coach it. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? And take my team to the World Cup one day.
Yeah, and if I don't make it in Phuket, then it's a decent place to live, which is actually what happened. So
let's track back.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit.
Where were you born and brought up?
I was born in Durban, South Africa, which is
good shark diving.
Yes, very good. I lived there till I was about 13, and then moved to the UK, and then stayed in the UK.
When you say,
and you speak proper.
Quite. When you say you moved at the age of 13, was it a case of, look, folks, I've had enough of this shit, I'm out?
I've heard about Yorkie bars and walnut whips.
They're not for girls. I've got to go.
And that's it. We ended up going, because my dad's from Wales.
Yep.
So we ended up moving over, and then after a while,
what passport do you hold?
I've got two.
I've
got both, yeah.
So you've got the South African and you've got British.
British, yes. Yeah.
And is your allegiance in Britain because your father's Welsh? Is your allegiance in Britain to England, or is it to Wales?
Definitely Wales.
That's the end of the podcast.
Can I drop
silly question?
Moving from Durban at the age of 13 to Wales.
Wales, yes, Abergavenny.
And was that Dad decided I've had enough of South Africa, want to move back or work?
Yeah, basically it was a combination of things. I think at the time nobody really knew how stable South Africa would be at that time. And he also
good points. How old are you?
Yeah, 41.
Okay, so when you were 13, quick maths.
Towards the
early 90s
era,
So of course you left it at a wrong time then, really.
Yeah, I know. I just missed it.
Just missed it. Yeah. The Rugby World Cup in South Africa. Yeah.
So I think my dad just said, well, let's go back to the UK, give it a go. Education for me and my sister as well.
So you got a sister as well, right? Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I did.
So how was it going back to Wales?
Wales was great.
From
Durban. It was really good. Growing up in South Africa at the time, you didn't have all the little the mod cons that you did in the UK. I mean, my parents used to send, well, not my parents, but my auntie and uncle used to send VHS cassettes of cartoons to us by post, because we had all the good cartoons in the UK.
Did you grow up with the Muppets in South Africa?
Yes.
Thank you.
We had the Muppets.
In South Africa. Yeah. I'm going to take a couple of other people to task on this.
We interviewed Debbie Krause, the wife of Gary Krause, and both of them never realised who the Muppets were. They'd heard of them a little bit, but didn't know about the Muppets.
Maybe it was on a tape.
All right, fair enough. Maybe it was one of those VHS.
You were tape sharing the Muppets.
We couldn't get things like that,
I know that similar ages, obviously I'm the eldest. What was it like growing up in South Africa as a kid? You say there was no cartoons. Was it?
Yeah, there wasn't. No, I can't remember there being really any cartoons as such. TV was quite like 2 or 3 channels, but actually that was great. Really, we didn't really watch TV. It was all outside all the time. It was school orientated.
Yeah,
you're basically doing things at school. It was all centered around school. Saturdays was school sport. The whole school would go to watch a sports game, even if you weren't playing, you went. I remember all the parents taking the kids in the cars, it was like a big flotilla going to where you're going to play
similar to America sport. Where that happens, where the sports, everything evolves around the sports team, all the school comes together, whereas in the UK, when I was playing football and cricket, I did play cricket in the UK and rugby, you didn't do that. You didn't get the support of all the other people would come.
No, that was one of the strange things when I went to Wales was
just one of the strange things.
One of the strange things was that they didn't do anything on Saturdays, and I was like,
"Well, they did."
Okay, I was a bit young for that.
Never too young.
So then, after schooling in Wales.
Hang on. Just to go back to the South Africa bit, because you were growing up during apartheid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume, perhaps rightly or wrongly, you tell me that you didn't really have an awareness of it as you were growing up, because that would have been status normal.
Yeah.
A little bit like Chris growing up in Northern Ireland, it was just the norm.
Yeah.
I guess it's looking back as an adult, and I use that word loosely. Looking back now, but how was it for you at that time?
Absolutely. That you weren't aware. It was just the norm.
Yeah.
It was literally the norm. You just carried on. You didn't think twice about why you were at school with only white kids and there were no black kids there.
Far out.
You just didn't think twice. It's weird.
It is.
And obviously, then now looking back on it, I think everyone can see how strange and unnormal that is. You know.
And when you went back to the UK, I mean, not that the UK was a bastion of racial equality, sort of in the 80s and 90s either. And you could argue it really still isn't, but it was obviously a lot far removed from South Africa. Yeah. So how did you just flip a switch and just carry on as normal?
Yeah,
or was it
I can't remember. I had any
issues.
No issues at all. No, I think at that age, you are that.
You just crack on.
You just crack on, and
that's cool.
That's why when you're kids, you just you just adapt, don't you? Or the situation is what it is, and then you just fall into that situation. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, you going to say?
Well, no, I was just going to move forward a little bit. Schooling
was
through Wales and then
up to Cumbria, which was at the other end of the country, because my dad got a job there.
That's in England.
Yes, the end of the island of Great Britain. And
it's not the other end, though, is it? Really, if we're going to see the island of Great Britain, it's pretty much in the middle, isn't it, Cumbria?
Scotland's only that big, though, isn't it, on the map?
So it's south of the north of England.
It is, south of the.
But north of the south of England. So north of the middle of England.
Yeah, I never actually figured out where it was.
It's Cumbria.
It was there somewhere, and like in the middle of.
It's beneath the borders and above the Midlands.
Yeah, it just took a long time to get to the airport. That's all I remember.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. The A590 is the longest cul-de-sac in the world. And that
all right,
is
Alan
ridiculous.
Partridge, thanks very much for that. Is there any other roads you don't like? What's about now?
The A33.
No, just that one. That's what I hate.
The A127 is my favourite road because that takes me from Southend into London. Love it. So what was the stage where, did you university or college?
Yeah, and then I went to university. Well, after school, a mate of mine, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't very good at school. And a mate of mine joined the Navy, the Merchant Navy, and then he sent me a postcard from Japan.
Was he wearing the outfit?
No, he sent me some other things. But then I thought, that sounds good. I haven't been to Japan. I really want to go to Japan. So I joined as well.
Okay,
and ended up,
so nothing to do with it. So I get a postcard from Japan. I've joined the Royal Navy. Oh, I've never been to Japan.
Merchant Navy.
Merchant Navy.
I'll join the Merchant Navy.
Yeah.
Rather than I'm not just going to go to Japan. No, I'm going to join the Merchant Navy.
Yeah, because that's the only way I thought I could get there, Earn some money on the way by boat.
Planes are quite good. Oh, it's too far to go to the airport. That's why you didn't do it, yeah?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, the company was right about 10 minutes from where I live. So the boat literally was closer than the airport, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sorry, Russ, just explain Merchant Navy compared to, because we've got the Royal Navy, which is the armed forces.
Yeah,
so a Merchant Navy would be
cargo, ships, everything else.
It's a bit like the Boy Scouts and the military. One's got heavy artillery, the other doesn't.
You get your TV.
I know what the Merchant Navy is. I was just letting our listener understand what the Merchant. Just in case they don't. Some people don't.
Yeah.
So, what was your position in the Merchant Navy?
Well, I joined as a
hello, sailor.
Officer.
Sat on the back of your
You
hill.
literally are lower than the ship's cap at that stage. And
had you done any sailing or any kind of nautical stuff before? Nothing at all.
Hideously seasick.
Couldn't even swim.
I was terribly seasick on the first trip. The first trip was the whole way around the world.
That was your first trip?
That was my first trip, yeah. Left
Prop
from
it in at the deep end.
Barrow in Furness. This is terrible, so it's good to leave. And then we went to France, and then from there we went through the Panama Canal, and then went right across the Pacific. Panama Canal.
Oh, that's better, yeah.
Yeah.
You said Panama Canal.
Panama.
Which way did you go? Atlantic?
And then Pacific.
Okay, yeah, all right.
To Japan.
Russell's checking your facts here.
Yeah.
Merchant Navy Russell over here. Oh, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Which way did you go?
You rowed. Did you row there?
Yeah. Fucking swam it.
Did you know your own map?
I thought I was good. Right, I'll shut up now.
So sorry, what position? I did jump. What position were you on?
It was
your first
like
trip?
a trainee
So
cadet.
deck cadet.
Yeah.
The position was usually over the side throwing up.
The brief was you're gonna chip the whole deck on the way there. On the way back, you're gonna paint it. Basically, that's what I did. The whole way we made and then painted this whole ship, and we had a great time in Japan halfway through, and then came back. Came back through the Panama Canal.
Is that okay, Russell?
Fine by me.
Okay,
I wasn't
good.
there.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then after that, I realised that I didn't really enjoy being away with a bunch of 6-year-old alcoholics for all that length.
So you
time.
moved to Phuket? Sorry, we both got that a bit too early.
Now they're 30-year-old alcoholics here, so this is much better.
So your first trip, and you went, nah, not
Yeah,
for me.
went to university down in Plymouth, near where you are.
Yeah.
And
Which is a very much a Navy training
it
area.
is, yeah. It's that's the biggest Navy
So
training
what did you
area
study
there.
at?
I did ocean science
Cool.
and hydrographic surveying.
Wow.
So
And
that's what I did.
how did you pick that one out?
I just from being
Just being on the boat?
just being on the boat, and
Right.
I quite liked the travel. I quite liked being at sea, even though I was
I quite
seasick.
like sand and the seabed.
Yeah.
I'm going to study
I'm going to study it. Yes.
Fair
and,
enough.
And that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
and
a
I went
really
back.
interesting choice to do. What a great... I think that's amazing.
But it's very niche,
Yeah,
which is, and you
it
said
is.
I came out of school, I have no idea what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to Japan in a
Yeah.
wayward way, and out of that, okay, I don't want to
Yeah.
do that as a profession, but I like
I
this
want to
idea
study
of
the
it.
sea floor.
Yeah, that's
How many people are on your course?
3.
Me, moi. There wasn't
Jack Cousteau.
Yeah. There's only, I think there's about 10 or 15 people. Not many.
And
There's not
with-
many people that
Yeah,
that
I mean,
are
it's
interested
niche,
in,
right?
in
So,
that. Yeah.
with choosing this subject, what was your kind of plan to take this subject and do?
More travel, really, because it's oil and gas industry based. Not necessarily, but mostly, and that's like a global industry. So my dad was also working around the world, expat style. So I thought, well, this is going to give me the opportunity to also go and work and see different places
That's cool.
that most people would never see. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
Interesting.
interesting.
It's not. I wasn't really interested in doing like a normal 9-to-5 job. Never really appealed to me. So,
No, fair enough. So you do your degree,
Yeah.
and then
I went to Cape Town, got a job with a company there doing
Are there
offshore oil
lots
and
of
gas.
seabeds in Cape Town?
There is.
Is there?
It's surrounded by seabeds. Yeah.
I know nothing about. I wouldn't even know. I could point South Africa out on the map. I
Yeah.
couldn't point Cape Town out.
Lots of diamonds on those seabeds as well. So
Ooh.
there's
Happy
a lot
days.
of. They need to. They're very interested in the seabed around that area.
was going back to South Africa either a part of the plan or a safe bet because you'd grown up there,
No,
or just fortuitous? It just happened to be that's
just-
where the job was.
Just I wanted to go back, and
Okay.
and the job was there.
Yeah.
It was like a win-win. So moved to Cape Town. Hadn't been there before. It's a lot different to Durban. Durban's very tropical. Cape Town's actually got its seasons,
Yeah.
So when I went there, it was absolutely Baltic. It was
Yeah,
a bit
it's
like
cold.
Morecambe Bay,
Yeah.
a little bit seasidey, but just naff and cold and windy. I thought I can't stay here. This is terrible. But then straight away like that, it turned into this beautiful summer, and it's the most amazing city in the world. I think
Yeah.
it really is.
So what was your job? That initial first job.
I was a surveyor, hydrographic surveyor. So we
what were
were
you surveying?
we were doing
Hydrographically.
positioning oil rigs off South Africa. So they
Put that one there.
basically park that one there, move that one 20 meters there, put that anchor there.
So
So-
how does it? So I'm quite interested. So you
Yeah.
would go out on a boat and you'd get, or would you just look at the charts?
No,
Or is it
you
a bit of both.
You bit of both. But you'd go out on the boat. You would then use all your charts and all the information that you had, and then you'd make sure using pretty good technology, GPS, not just a normal one on your watch, but they've got very high grade GPS to position things on the surface, and underwater, it's also its own different type of positioning.
Yeah.
Because it could be deep, very deep, like 2,000 meters. And surface positioning then could be slightly different to underwater positioning.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, okay. So you're basically, I'm going to summarise your role in Jayism. You
Oh,
go
Christ.
and find the best place to put an oil rig.
Uh,
Or a gas rig.
yeah, well, or somebody's done that before, and they say, we want it here, but we want you to put it there, but it has to be really exactly there, like within.
Okay.
So
they've already
centimetres.
identified where, say, a gas pocket is
Yeah,
or an oil pocket is.
exactly.
That's where we want it.
Yeah.
You go and help us make sure it's in the right place.
Exactly.
So you're not
yeah.
walking out with your divining sticks trying to find
And a
where
compass.
the pockets are.
No.
The
The
pockets
clever
have been-
people have done
The
that.
clever people
yeah.
have found out, and then they
Yeah.
ask you, the map reading people,
Yeah.
and the positioning people, to position this. So you're trying to get this huge structure in the right position.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
a serious.
Yeah.
Because you obviously then you have
Yeah.
to take in the tides and the wind and the currents and everything?
Seabed layout.
Yeah, I mean, there is that in certain areas of the world. The biggest challenge that we have is in deep water, so like in West Africa, it's around 2,000, maybe 3,000 meters deep. So if you're drilling down, well, they don't use anchors. If you're drilling down, that's there's some movement within that, and so you need to also have positioning on the seabed, which is
not, the rigs aren't anchored. They're actually
they're just positioned by GPS.
And that is, I guess that's now automatic almost. Yeah. So the engines are listening, so you've got 4 or 5 engines, whatever the engine structure is, and they're just adjusting
it's called
every
dynamic
second.
positioning,
So what was happening? Because that can't have happened in the last, what was it like 12 years ago when they didn't have that kind of stuff?
No, they had it, but it's just much more advanced now.
Yeah.
It's quite an expensive way because it's always using fuel.
Yeah.
So it's an expensive way to position a.
Well, to be fair, you're at the source of the fuel. I mean, you're getting it cheap, surely.
Yeah.
Surely you have a little converter on site.
That's a comment I would make. Brilliant, love it.
So we should get a
you'd like to think so, right?
Yeah. I should have a member card or something.
Are you still doing this? This is what you're still doing now?
In a way, I've moved on slightly. I've done some other things with regard to more of a mapping the seabed instead of oil and gas. Like last year before, we were doing some MH370 work, looking for the search for MH370. I was luckily involved in that. There was another submarine which was lost off Argentina, the San Juan, so we looked for that. A couple of other shipwrecks of note, some historical shipwrecks.
Okay, so we've gone from oil and gas now to kind of almost a shipwrecky type stuff.
Yeah.
And was that a natural, that's what you wanted to go into, or did it just naturally came?
It naturally came. Not many people are lucky enough to get involved with things like that. It's, again, even more niche market. But luckily I had the opportunity to get involved in that, and that was because of the industry that we're in. There's not many industries that has that technology to go and do that.
Sure, I imagine it doubles. So what I can imagine now is you're this oil and gas guy, so you're there after the thing, and you're in Tortola, let's say, just having a few beers, and all of a sudden some pirate comes up to you. Hey Dave, come on my ship, come and find
we'll find some buried treasure.
And that's obviously how it worked.
And then it hit someone on the head.
With a bottle and dragged you off. So, at the time when you moved to Phuket, you were still oil and gas, or was it more shipwreck stuff?
No, it was all oil and gas.
And that's when the guy said, well, do you know what? So where were you living? You was living in...
I was living here in Phuket, but I was working for a company based in Norway, and they're very much involved with the high-tech stuff in Norway, that's where it all gets driven from. They seem to be the drivers for the technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your role, you can live anywhere, and what? So how does it work with your work-wise? You like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off?
Yeah, usually it's like a month on, month off, or 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. With COVID, obviously, that's not been possible.
Yeah.
So it's just been a
bit
of a relaxing time, and doing a bit of work from home.
From a work, so just
working from home must be fun. Trying to find shipwrecks. Just to point out.
I didn't.
Just spin the globe around and just
sitting there looking at the bath. There it is.
We'll get to shipwrecks in a minute. Go on, Russ.
How do you find? I'm guessing. Well, this is a weird one. How did you at the beginning find the whole concept of 4 to 6 weeks on, 4 to 6 weeks off? Because in a lot of respects, when you I've never done that sort of working life, so I can look at it and say that's got some real benefit. Because from 4 to 6 weeks, I'm just in work, and then I've got a really nice, long, cushy holiday afterwards. So does it pan out like that, or is it?
Yes, it did before kids came.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
And dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. Self-inflicted. It was fantastic. It really was. It especially when you were young, you could travel, and I mean, we used to get off the boat wherever we could. And stay behind for half of that break. So, get off. We've been to India, I've been to around Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Australia, wherever we could, we would jump off and spend 2 weeks.
So wherever the contract ended, you'll hang here for a little while. Okay, cool.
Exactly, yeah.
And would the company then fly you? So if you're based in Phuket, they would fly you to the next job. So you'd go to the airport.
Yes, or you'd either make your way home, and they would take you from home. I mean,
wherever your base was.
Wherever your base was,
okay.
yeah.
And they don't mind where your base is?
No. Well, within reason. I mean, there has to be a decent airport. But then they take people from like Scotland, don't they? There's no well, you know, and the Outer Hebrides.
To be fair, they've got an airport.
It's close to Cumbria, I think.
Yeah. I mean, when I said, look, I'm playing cricket in Phuket now. I have to stay, you know.
I'm looking forward to coaching the
I'm
national team of
I'm an
Thailand.
island professional. No, they basically, you know, as long as the airport and the Phuket, that's one of the benefits for living in Phuket is the airport is really good, great connections.
And where would you fly? So let's say you fly from Phuket to
Dubai or Qatar or like Abu Dhabi or Singapore.
And then they take you on to the next point.
And then wherever you're going. So I'm working in Angola now, Luanda. So for me, my work trip is from here to Dubai, Luanda. So it's fairly
and
simple
then do you
route.
go on to then fly you from, let's say you land in Rwanda, and then do they get on
Luanda.
wherever you said, and they get on the helicopter chops and take you to the
Some
the
people
boat-
do.
boaty
Some
boat.
people do. Yeah. I'm actually onshore now. So we get taken to an office complex there, and
Not in a helicopter, I take it.
unfortunately not. No. Well, in Angola, it's luckily probably don't want to get in a helicopter, but.
Do you have armed guards? Because my dad was in oil and he used to fly. He did a lot
very
of stuff
sticky.
in Africa, and he would get to the airport and then he would get picked up,
There
and then
are-
they'd have the armed guards.
There are
with him.
some there in Nigeria. That's quite
Yeah.
common. Angola, no, there's no real issues, thankfully, with regard to that. But definitely there is some areas that require that. you
Right.
know.
That's mental.
Yeah.
And on the rigs, what have you been in storms and stuff? Has it been quite scary?
Yes, definitely.
If you haven't, make something up.
No, I don't have to make it up, unfortunately. But we were leaving Cape Town and we were sailing to actually the Falkland Islands in winter. So. Yeah, and we were on a Norwegian boat with Norwegians who are like, you know, built from steel, you know, and
Seals?
and
That's not
steel.
very... Oh, I was going to say, you can't...
they're hardy
We love seals on this
seafarers.
podcast. Dolphins, if they're built from
Can't club
dolphins,
them.
thank God for that.
Yeah, for 17 days it was just horrendous.
Is that the Southern Ocean?
Yeah. It was
That's-
horrendous.
Columbus getting
yeah,
rid of
yeah.
it. Is that the Southern Ocean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I like
towards,
my Attenborough.
towards the Falkland Islands there's also icebergs. So then you know you're thinking,
Thinking Titanic.
Titanic.
You sat at the front.
That movie was banned on that boat. No one was allowed to watch that. Yeah, but it was horrendous. So there's been some pretty bad weather. But then you look around and you realise all these fishing boats are out there, and you think that's
Nutters.
crazy.
Yeah.
Really
Miles
is.
and miles of trawling nets
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So there's
And
been
now-
some pretty bad weather.
And now you're shipwrecking stuff.
Well, I was, and now I've changed again. But I was doing some shipwrecky stuff, which was very interesting.
So tell us some stories about that.
Well, thing is, you can't really tell too many stories because it's all, there's some, it's all confidential
No
when
one
you join
listens to
these
this podcast,
things.
don't worry, it's
well,
just
you
my
never
mum
know.
and
Maybe I'll
Russell's
get,
mum
maybe a
sometimes.
ninja will jump out and get me.
Okay, so tell us stuff. So you can't. Is it quite a secretive thing? Though,
Very
that-
secretive, yeah.
Because
it
once
really
someone
is.
knows where one shipwreck is, it all. Because I've watched.
Yes.
I've watched a
Legal
couple of
thing, isn't it?
documentaries about it on Discovery Channel, which is obviously the best channel to watch.
Yeah,
And they are always looking
And if
for
they want to
pirate
sponsor the
gold
podcast.
and shipwrecks
yeah,
and stuff.
there is, and it's very, it's very secretive, and it's a little bit of a grey area with regard to shipwrecks because of
Who owns
obviously
them?
the historic nature of them. Maybe it's a war grave, maybe not. Maybe you what's on there, and
In terms of
Yeah.
the, not so much the details, but in terms of the projects in general, like you mentioned about the MH370 search and the submarine, those things are more, if I'm right, more of a private project. So someone else comes in and says, look, I want to go and find this.
Yes.
Or even if it's a government project saying, right,
Mhm.
we're going to try and find our lost submarine or whatever, or whatever wreck it is.
Yeah.
It's a specific project, either privately or publicly funded, and they bring in you as a team and others just for that
Mhm.
sole purpose. And then once that contract's gone, you're out, as opposed to being a company that does this all the time.
Yeah, basically, yes, that's right. I mean, you'll have some entity, either a government or somebody who's got a very high interest in finding something. They will employ. But there's not many companies that have the capability to do it.
Yeah.
So there's not maybe literally 4 or 5, and then just because of the depths that are involved and some of the costs involved, A lot of companies just aren't equipped to do it.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I mean, how long were you looking for the MH370?
Well,
for?
that
'Cause
was
one for a while, wasn't it?
that was about a 6-month project.
But I mean, that was,
Look
and
for
wasn't
that.
just your company, or
No,
was it? 'Cause there's a global
before.
interest in
So
that.
we picked that up from where a previous company had looked for it, and then we continued that, using a different technology and different techniques. So that was a 6-month really out of Fremantle in Perth, and it was quite a long way transiting back.
As a person who knows about the seafloor, how hard is it to find? Not me, by the way. I mean you. I know that it's got
I
sand.
know it's there.
It's at the bottom. Look. Why is it so hard to find shipwrecks and like even the Bermuda? I've listened to a thing last night about the Bermuda Triangle and stuff that goes there. Why is it so hard to find stuff on the seafloor? What's the issues?
It's just the sheer
big-ass floor.
area. People don't realise, I think, or and that's normal. That just the sheer enormity of what's under the seafloor. There's the Himalayas under the seafloor.
No, they're not. The Himalayas are in the Himalayas. I mean,
Imagine-
that's just ridiculous. You can't
But
say
you
that. That's
can't-
ridiculous thing to say. Because now no one's going to believe anything you say.
Well, it's very similar to that. Some of the mountain ranges that
There
are
you
there.
go. So there are mountain ranges under. No,
Yes,
don't tell
similar
people the
to the
Himalayas
Himalayas.
because everyone will think, oh shit, we're
They may
flooded.
not even know where they are.
Noah was right. We're fucked.
Well, that's the next thing. Look for Noah's Ark.
Did you find it?
No,
I'm not sure you will.
We should. No. It's in Holland.
Is
They're
it?
still building it.
Yeah.
Because I saw there was somebody actually building an ark in Holland. They're mental.
Yeah.
in Holland.
That's after a coffee shop conversation.
yeah.
isn't it?
Yes,
Someone said,
in
what
Amsterdam.
should we do now?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go build an ark. All right, why not? It sounds great. But
Pirate
so
with a
it's
cough.
basically the topography of the floor is just so.
Yeah.
So you were basically looking at the Earth surface, just but covered
Yeah.
2,000
yeah.
meters down,
Yep.
covered in water.
Yeah, and,
Wow.
and some of the objects are so small that the technology at the moment isn't capable of detecting some of these sizes.
And I guess it doesn't take long for the seabed to engulf whatever's underneath there as well.
Yeah, you would imagine it's very soft sediment, very something could just go underneath and then it'll be covered up again within a matter of months or whatever. No one really knows, but it's extremely difficult. When we were looking for my MH370, we had a team of guys who had successfully found quite a few plane wrecks and shipwrecks. So they knew exactly what to look for. They knew this is what we're looking for. We have to focus on this, and this is what it may look like under the water, a target. So these were like experts that we had on board.
And what are you using? Is it
A boat.
It's like a sonar.
It
Yeah,
is sonar, okay.
yeah, sonar, underwater sonar.
So in layman's terms, you're just pinging sound and just getting
Yeah,
shape from the depth of the ping.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
But
that's the yeah.
But then again, and this is probably the reason why it hasn't been found, if this table is the seabed and you're, as I go over that coffee cup, you can see what the image is, right? But if the plane's under the surface...
Yeah, yeah, and or the resolution, or you're trying to cover a large area in the fastest possible time. The resolution may not be adequate. You could maybe only see something that's 10 meters, and if something's 5 meters, you'll never see it.
Right, gotcha. Okay.
So it's a bit of a balancing act.
Have you seen any interesting animals on your travels in the water?
We've seen quite a
Mostly
few.
on the rigs, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, not underwater, but yeah, not on the boat. There's a few.
Your time in Wales, did you see any lovely animals?
Yeah, we've seen some. We've partnered up with the University of Southampton. So if we ever see any strange and wonderful creatures, we send them the images, and they can come back and say, "Well, this is a big long."
It's a
Latin
herring
name." Yeah,
or a cod.
a fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you found? Anything cool? Or what have you seen? Because
We've seen some really bizarre,
Scary fish.
they're all scary.
Mate,
Some of them-
some of those
yeah.
fish are there.
Like, like really weird fluorescent type creatures, and you just think, what on earth is that? That's crazy. Some of them are pretty large as well, because you don't get the perspective on the camera on RV underwater, and then you look and realise, oh wow, that was actually quite big.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to swim into that.
Nah.
No. Yeah.
And
Jellyfish and stuff like that. Yeah.
you mentioned, so you're away for 6 weeks, and as a dad, what's that like? That must be tough.
Yeah, that's like that was something that you don't plan for when you start the job. You know, you just think, oh, it'll all be fine, it'll be great, and then going away, then obviously that's quite a big challenge. Yeah, it's probably one of the hardest things on the job, I would have said, going away and but then when you come back, you've got all that time here, so. It's a balance.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a key thing. I talked to my
You
parents.
look forward to the time away after that.
Contact the adoption agencies and you've got a bit of time.
I'm joking. I talk to my parents and we say, look, they don't see my grandkids. They don't see them all the time. But when we go back, we're back for a month. So they see them intensely for a month. Whereas if we were living there, you might see them a couple of weekends in 6 months. So it's kind of, I think it does kind of balance itself out.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a mindset as well. It's you know, it's definitely to do with your mindset. When you go away, you know you come back in this amount of time. 6 weeks' time, you plan what you're going to do, and you know you can look forward to certain things, and makes it much easier.
So let's touch on. We jumped over the cricket stuff. So where does this?
Probably a good idea.
So you came to Phuket. Now
We haven't
I
got
was
onto
playing
rugby
cricket 10 years ago because I used to play for the village cricket team.
Yeah.
Up on that pitch around the corner because we're at
That's
Bake
pretty
again.
famous.
Hello, Bake, by the way. Other bakes are available. Soon they're going to give us some money for recording here, you know. Or probably not because we do piss a lot of people off. So where does the cricket love come from?
Just from school, you know, playing at school at a young age. South Africa, obviously, you start playing cricket. If you don't play cricket, there's something wrong with you, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just
sport.
So you just playing it, just love the sport, you know, and you always enjoy it, you know. And it's a game you can play at an older age when you're not very good.
What was
as
your,
well,
what was
so-
your position? Oh, yeah, I was going to say, what was your
Batsman,
position
bowler.
of choice?
Well, I like to think I'm a bit of an all-rounder, but
Doesn't everyone?
no, probably around.
That's,
but
people say that when they're shit at everything. You know,
Yeah. Jack of all
Yeah,
trades.
Yeah, that's what I say. People describe me. Jay, what do you do for a job? I say, I'm jack of all trades, and you shit at everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, basically that was me. Pretty crap at most things. On the
So
cricket
medium
field,
pace bowler?
medium pace bowler, medium to poor batsman.
What
Not a bad
number?
umpire though.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
What number do you like to bat at?
I always partial to number 4. I used to hate opening. It's too nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
And
so you've got to have a special mindset.
You got to
for that,
see
haven't
what the bowlers are like first from the pavilion to say, oh, okay, I can just about manage him.
you don't want to go
you
third.
don't wanna
Because
go
if the
third.
openers get out first or second ball, you're straight in,
You're nightmare.
basically.
You got to. So 4th is like a bit more of a safe haven for a batsman.
So were you
And you
playing
can be the
here?
hero as well. If you
Correct.
do play well, you could win the game, you know, and then normally enough time to score 50.
So you mentioned because we played down. I've played down at the Sixes down on the horrible Carons, the half a stadium that it is. It's like they built half it and then forgot about the other half. But did you used to play on the pitch around the corner here as well?
Yeah.
So
we
which
did the
team were you
school.
playing
That was
for? Yeah.
I was playing. Well, we played for the Patong at the time. It was called.
Right.
It is called the Patong Penguins now.
Okay.
Because they're common in Patong.
So, yeah. But
I like penguins. You used to bite the two opposite
Yeah.
corners off,
But-
and you could drink out of them.
Yeah.
but we've played
why
for a
polar bears
variety
don't
of
eat
teams
penguins?
over the years.
Sorry,
you know.
Russell's making a joke.
Do you know why polar bears can't eat penguins?
Because they can't get the wrappers off. He's going to say. What I would technically say is because they live in different environments. One lives on the north, one lives on the south.
Oh, check you out. You watch
David
Attenborough too.
Attenborough.
Hey,
That's all that Discovery Channel.
You
Look
might
at
know
you.
about the direction of the Panama Canal, son, but I know about
Well, I
penguins.
think it goes both ways, to be fair. Anyway,
You
Maybe
swing
not.
one.
Who's
Who was that? Leave it out, Russell.
Yeah,
plenty
right.
of
That's
time.
our different
there's
interview.
plenty of time for after the podcast.
So I
Back
wonder
to
if
the
we played
cricket.
against each other cricket-wise.
I'm sure we have. And we've definitely probably
Oh, I remember-
drunk against each other in the clubhouse.
There was a lot of Indian. There was a couple of Indian teams.
Yeah,
They hated
yeah,
me.
they love it.
Absolutely hated me.
Yeah.
I brought hooliganism to cricket. I was told by my team to get in there and to wind them up, so I did.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, to be honest.
No.
No, especially
But
someone
they're
who has
pretty
no idea.
passionate about cricket.
I have no idea about
Indians.
cricket. Were you playing with Fozzie?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
And I got
yeah.
Fozzie out once when I was bowling, and apparently he was kept on stepping out of his crease.
Are you a spin
Yeah, well, it
bowler?
wasn't hard to wind him up either.
No, it wasn't. He was easy to wind up. But I said to, and someone said to me, if he steps out of his crease, I can, as a bowler, I can knock him
Rank
out.
at him.
Yeah.
As long as I give him a warning first. And I said to him, I said, look, if you step out of your crease one more time, I'm going to knock you out. And he was, yeah, whatever, mate. He did it one more time, I knocked him out, and apparently it's the word, it's like an unwritten law.
It's
You shouldn't never do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if it's in the rules, it's in the rules.
Yeah.
And he had to walk.
I can't believe you did that.
It's one of those...
Surprised you didn't
But
leave
the problem was,
Phuket
he was
after
actually
that.
quite a good player.
I know. Yeah.
So it was all my team were very happy I did it because he got him out, but he was furious.
Yeah.
Some Essex lad.
Yeah, if he's
knocked
ever
him
listened
out.
to that, you probably remember it.
Yeah, it's in the rules. You're allowed,
Well,
legally allowed to do it. It's just gentleman's
It's
conduct.
a gentleman's game, and you shouldn't really be doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, then it shouldn't be a rule then.
Well,
no, but that by not making it,
No. He is not in his crease, which
Correct.
means he is
by the letter of the law.
by the letter of the
you can get him
law.
out.
I did nothing wrong.
Correct, but
everyone
part of
as a
me.
gentleman,
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it.
as a gentleman, you wouldn't do it. And that's one of the unwritten rules of the game, and which in a
And
way, because people would
Do
say,
you know
well,
what I want to say is I'm not sure I
It's very
can.
hard to
I'm not sure if I can edit
explain
this.
cricket rules
As a
to
gentleman,
people.
I shouldn't masturbate, but I do. So let's all move on.
always said you're a wanker.
There's only two people in this world: wankers and liars.
Ching ching. Tick
Hello,
both
Mum.
those boxes. Is cricket your sport of choice?
Yeah, I would say it's up there
Watching
with
them
rugby.
play.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Rugby
Yeah,
league or rugby union?
of course.
Union, yeah.
Although I do quite like the Aussie state of origin is for league games. That is
Yeah.
good. Yeah, but generally very much rugby union. Yeah.
And I'm assuming So who do you support now? Wales or South
no,
Africa?
I support South Africa actually, and that's
Glory Hunter.
that has
Yeah.
well, that's just coming from an Englishman.
Yeah.
But I do get a lot of stick for that. People can't understand why I
Hey,
don't
world
support
champions.
England. They'll keep
So-
losing
Yeah, quite.
England. But
You-
yeah,
Your son's born in Thailand, so
Yeah.
he'll have a Thai passport.
he does.
And
Yeah.
can he get a British or a South African passport?
He has both of them. So
Wow,
he's an
okay.
international man of mystery. He could,
the making.
So he could be a great drug dealer if he
he
wanted
could
to
be.
be.
Yeah. He's my early retirement policy. Yeah. so
Who's
he's-
your favourite cricket? No, actually, let's ask it.
Yeah.
Who's the greatest cricketer of all time, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a very difficult question.
Because
Well,
Somebody
asked
like Ian Botham.
On this podcast, we asked the difficult questions.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like some
His
people can go
grandson's
all the
playing
way
for
back.
Wales.
Is he really?
For rugby for Wales. I was
Well,
reading
his
about that.
son played.
Liam
His son
Botham.
played.
No,
Liam-
Liam's his son.
Liam's his son.
It's the son of Liam. He's playing for
Ah,
Wales. He's
I
got
didn't
know
a
that.
cap this
Oh, right.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay.
So I just read about that in the BBC.
Ian
this morning.
Botham, the
So
British,
he's-
the English
So it's
legend.
English-
definitely Ian Botham then, my
Yeah,
favourite.
Sir
But his
Ian
son
Botham.
was. I think his son played for
Correct.
for Cardiff Blues.
Yeah, he didn't play for Wales. He played for Cardiff Blues on a wing.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
now his son, Botham's grandson, is
Right.
playing for Wales.
Okay, good. Yeah, so a lot of people will look right back, the old, W.G. Grace and all these things, but, I'd like to
Bradman.
look, someone like Botham for me would be one of them, yeah.
It-
Even someone like Callis.
Yeah.
He's quite a modern player, he's only just finished playing, but I think it'll be hard to beat him as an all-rounder in many years.
Yeah, a fair one. And it's so hard to take people from any sport and say, well, that's the greatest of all time. It's so difficult to pick them out from different eras.
Yeah, because it's different.
It's
the
just different game,
professionalism,
right? Different
game,
levels.
the rules have changed, yeah.
So, I mean, I think we had this discussion with Chris and we were talking about boxers, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and someone like Ali, you can argue that they were, better boxers, better fighters, but Ali as a sports person, as a person generally, will top most people's lists.
Yeah.
So I guess if you apply the same sort of thing for cricket, what the cricketers have done outside of the sport will then play into whether we think that they were the greatest of all time.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Well, I think you can only.
for the like people weren't wearing helmets back in the day.
That's true, actually.
So so if you face it, bowlers were the same speed back then. So you
facing
need
that West
a lot,
Indian attack.
a lot of skill to avoid being hit by a cricket ball. But nowadays people are all padded up with helmets, and they probably the skill level of avoiding these balls is less. Because they're all
you can take a hit.
protected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult question because I came out of it because I had a debate with someone about who was the greatest basketball player of all time, and I'm a Jordan, 100%.
Yeah.
And then people saying, well, what about Kobe? What about LeBron? Are they? And you're right. It's so difficult to judge because I grew up watching Jordan, so everything he did was
A
amazing.
little bit biased,
Massively biased, and then you come into the day's games change. The shoes are so much different. They do make a big. Look at the runners.
Yeah.
Runners now can break miles. You know, Roger Bannister did it in under 4 minutes, but now they're doing it within.
That's a training session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and because all the shoes,
Sports
the technology is so
science,
different.
you know,
Yeah.
It's like Kipchoge just broken the 2-hour marathon record.
Who did? Sorry.
Eliud Kipchoge.
Good.
Is it a Kenyan, Ethiopian runner? One of the two.
I don't know. I'm not being racist.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it's an official record because it wasn't an official race. So, but he managed to do it as a. You know, you've got paces and all of that, but there was a big thing about the shoes and whether in professional races you're allowed to use those. Those Nike shoes.
It was the Nike shoes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because Zola Budd didn't wear them, and she did all right.
She did all right.
To be fair, she was South African.
She was
wasn't
South
she?
African,
Yeah.
But then,
but they gave her a UK passport to run for England or Great Britain.
Great Britain in the
Olympics,
Olympics, wasn't it? Or something? But she only did that, and then you never heard of her again.
No,
I don't think. Oh well.
She had sore
there you
feet.
go. She had blisters, and that was it.
Don't talk to him about blisters on your feet.
That's a whole nother story.
A whole other story.
Russell?
What got you into the rugby here then? How did that come about?
I think that was just through cricket, to be honest, and just most people that were playing cricket were doing some form of rugby, you know, whether it was just watching or playing or in the bar afterwards. So
Are you going to play in the 10s next year?
I am from here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, of course.
Are you playing in the 7s? Oh, no,
No,
the
don't do
10s in
sevens.
Crabbie
Listen,
next
you
year.
two, this is not
yeah.
a conversation about who's playing rugby. This is an interview with Dave to talk some great stuff that our listeners want to listen to.
Well,
you
if they
two
want
having
to
a
see
chit-chat.
him
Let's
in
see
sporting
me in
action,
sportsman, yeah.
then
I
this
told
is
you it was
You have to be
Dave
quick.
days ago.
On the wing.
You could have just
On the
asked him
wing.
these questions then.
on the wing.
Are you a winger?
you'd have to-
What's your position of choice? Winger?
Opportunistic, you know, wherever I am on the pitch
Flanker.
at the time.
At the time. But that's
yeah.
the thing, 'cause, I mean, when did you last play a 15s game?
That was probably
1962.
against that Navy team when we were all
Oh,
injured.
yeah. Oh, that was brilliant.
Right, once
Sorry,
again,
back
Mate, it
that
was a 15
American
aside.
Navy team or something.
It was
Or
the
Air
British,
Force
the
or
British
something.
Navy.
Was it? Yeah.
it was the British Navy lads after the Phuket 10s, and they said, "Oh, do you want to fancy a 15s game?"
Yeah, they brought like an Air Force carrier of subs, didn't they? And we had
They had an entire squadron of players, and we had 13 people for a 15-man-a-side game. So we had to borrow two of theirs. We still got a 12-ball draw out of it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was good. That was.
It was proper.
That's
smashed
why
up.
I left on high note.
Yeah,
on the
absolutely,
15-man game.
So I think that was after because that was our sort of double teaming in the 10s.
Yeah.
We had a great 10
you two
session.
not spoke to each other for a long time, or
What makes you say that?
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Russell,
what sort of things have you got on your bucket list?
Bucket list. Wow. Jeez, I've done so.
all right,
Right, steady on. Done it
Shag
all.
sheep.
No.
moved to
That is on the
Cumbria.
bucket list. That one's- bucket
You shag
list.
one
Yeah,
sheep.
I'd like to. I'd like to go to a Rugby World Cup. The whole competition,
Yeah.
like from the group games all the way
whole
through,
6-8
and get
weeks.
really involved in the whole
Yeah.
atmosphere of it, all the way to the final. Where
Not
South
a
Africa
cricket
win
World
again.
Cup. You prefer a Rugby World Cup?
Yeah, Rugby World Cup. I've been to a Cricket World Cup before. That was in South Africa, which I obviously would like to do again. I'd love to go watch Ashes in Melbourne. You know, like a New Year's.
Go to the SCG or something. Go to the Boxing Day test or
Boxing
something.
Day test, or one of these huge events. You know, I'd love to do that.
Lions tour.
Lions tour
Yeah,
would be
we'd well
great.
up for
Yeah.
No football fan.
I'm
no
not really a football fan, to be honest. Just, I guess, again, if you played football in South Africa as a school kid, it was just,
You got beaten up.
like playing tennis, you know.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with tennis.
No, but you were like, what are you doing? Kicking that ball. And so I was never really into it. So I've just, I do like the sport, but I've never really supported a team as such,
And-
a football team.
Sorry,
So,
you've mentioned you've travelled around the world quite a lot. Is there any particular place you'd like to go to that you haven't been to yet?
I would like to go I've been to the West Indies, but I've only been to, I haven't been to like Barbados or these like really nice beachy type places. I went to Trinidad, which is like just a big city, oil hub. So I'd love to go to the West Indies, Central America, New Zealand. I've not been there. So
Didn't
That
they just
cheap
lose
thing.
to Argentina or Italy?
Yeah.
they
Argentina,
did,
was
yes.
it?
Yeah.
That's mental, Gant was. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
First
they-
time in their history.
Yeah, that was like, I think we felt that earthquake in Phuket,
Yeah.
didn't we, when that happened?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So what's the plans then for the? Obviously, with COVID aside, you're stuck here, or not stuck here is a bad term, but you're here now.
I mean, hopefully, we all hope that it's gonna open up a little bit next year.
It's looking likely. I mean, look,
it sounds more positive.
There's some more positive things coming out in the press. Whether you can believe it or not, I don't know, but I'm staying positive because I think we all need it, and it does look like the vaccine is coming. Now, how quickly we can roll that out and how much it's going to work, I don't know, but at least it's a start.
I think once it comes out, I think everyone's fed up enough that they'll just take the vaccine and we move on.
Yeah, I mean, we're so fortunate here in Phuket and Thailand in general just to be able to live life in a normal way compared to the rest of the world. But
sorry to interrupt, but it's interesting because you mentioned that we were talking about the burger competition off air.
Yeah.
And I stood up on that stage and I even said, we got so grateful that we can be here. There was over 2,500. Russell, stop coughing. Every time. Yeah. There was 2,500 people there, and we were all close together. And we were all listening to live music, eating burgers, drinking beers and drinking whatever else we were drinking.
Yeah, when the other places are going into lockdown.
No, and I'm on and on Skype or video call to my parents on the way home from school yesterday with the kids, and they're stuck there. They can go out of their house and they can go for a walk, and that's it.
Yeah. So we really are fortunate, but I think people need to catch up with families and that now. It's like getting to that stage where we're really enjoying it here, and it's great living here, but we've got that need now where we need to.
And also up here in Chantilly, where sitting in a coffee shop, everything's normal. Kata, Caron, Baton.
Yeah.
Nah.
No, there's
the economies globally need to start kickstarting.
Yeah.
Well, let's not debate global economy on the Leshark and Friends and Russell podcast.
Religion. No. Sorry.
We can, mate.
You're just having a fit now.
We can talk about religion all you like.
Yeah.
We love that one. DT. The
D-Man.
The D-Man.
The D-Man.
The D-Man. Thank you very much for being on our little podcast.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for inviting me.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. You were my first choice. You were Russell's second choice.
That's always it. Yeah, that's normal. That's normal.
Thank you very much, mate. Really interesting, honestly. I think we met a few years back, and I got into started to ask you what you do, and the Shipwreck stuff I think is amazing. Yeah. So I think that's very cool, and you're a great dad. Keep it up. Keep going. I see you around all the time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Enjoy. Yourself. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Thanks a lot. Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks, Russ. Welcome to the outro. That's the most confusing soda water bottle that's just turned up in my life. The D-Man.
D-Man.
DT.
DT.
The Dave of the Dave.
Oh, Dave. Why didn't you say that?
Honestly, our inside jokes are just...
awful.
Yeah, they really are.
Awful.
You've known Dave a lot longer than I have. I've only known him possibly... I might have known him for longer, but I've only really known him for the last couple of years or so. I love his Shipwreck stuff. I could have talked so much more about that.
I've just twigged as to how I can identify how long I've known him. I was trying to work it out on our rugby 10s competitions.
I know you told the podcast listener
I've
about
just
your
remembered
rugby 10s competition.
He's got a French bulldog called Ronaldo.
Right.
And a mutual friend introduced me to Dave when he first got Ronaldo to go and help him with this new puppy. So
why is that, Russ? What do you do for a living?
Well, you probably don't know this, actually, so I should probably mention I'm a dog trainer, and I have my own dog training business here.
What's that called?
It's called Canine Point Academy. If you go to caninepointacademy.com, you can see our website, and, fun enough, we've got a beach club as well for dogs. But anyway, more on that later, don't you start. So
it'll be good if you had a podcast to tell people about it.
Yeah.
What a great idea that would be.
Anyway, back to the D-Man.
D-Man.
So I've known him 10, 12 years, if not more.
I like him, and it's always been...
Oh, he's a good egg.
Yeah, no, we only see him for a few weeks, and he's off again, and he's back again, and he's back again, and he's off again. So, no, he's a cool man. I didn't realise he was South African. Didn't know that.
No.
I thought he was British, 100% British, or English, the way he talks. He talks proper, which is really nice. That's great stories. I know. I knew he was in oil and gas. I didn't realise he was doing the topography of the... That's twice I've used that word.
I'll tell you, when his dad's out here next time, we should get his dad in the podcast, because his dad's a legend. I've got a lot of time for his dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Yeah, he's cool. He's got some stories and all.
I think we were just talking to him off air. It's interesting that we're finding out why people actually came to Phuket, and that one, because of cricket, is just
random.
Legendary.
Yeah. Of all, if we had a checklist of the reasons why people might come here, that's cricket's down the list.
I came here to sell property. He came here because of cricket.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have guessed that. That's a great quiz question.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dave Thomas, good guy, the D-Man.
Good egg, the D-Man.
DT, whatever you want to call him. Love him to death. Right.
Cheers, buddy.
No, do you want to go? Just like that?
Have I got that look on my face, have I?
If you have a dog and you'd like the dog trained, or you'd like to board your dog for short or long time, especially with Christmas coming up.
I'm just going to say.
If you're going to go away at Christmas, if you're going to go up to Chiang Mai, or if you're going to go to Bangkok, or if you're just going away for a weekend, give Russell a shout now. Just go to caninepointacademy.com, and there all the details are there. And you can also find his new podcast. It's not new anymore. 6 episodes down.
That's quite old.
It is an old podcast. We've got to do a few more of those. But that's very cool. But make sure you listen to that as well. Check out the Leshark and Friends podcast. You obviously listen to it now.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Absolutely, subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Like,
give us a 5-star rating.
We'd like a 5-star rating.
Just a 5-star rating would be
just
lovely.
Anything would be nice. We push. I've noticed your Bartcast got a few 5-star ratings.
Yeah,
you've done well there.
Yeah.
But we are pushing that, so make sure you do that. And if you want to be on the Leshark and Friends podcast, email me at jaleshark@gmail.com. The best place to find all the information is
where. Phuket,
dick.
PhuketPodcast.com.
Right, on that note, I'm not putting the advert for Bartcast in this. I'm going to do the advert for...
Shark Tales.
Yeah, please go and listen to my new podcast affair. It's called Shark Tales.
Podcast affair.
And it is a documentary-style podcast. I'm not sure how many times I'll release it. Probably maybe once a month. But it's about me experiencing different things. Trying to find out... Yeah, so it's me taking my pants down and getting... bum sex. No, it's not getting bum sex at all. I've gone too far there, haven't I? That's because I can hear the cutlery lady behind me making shed loads of noise. She's not doing it quietly. Just do it quietly.
Yeah.
Put the cutlery in your cutlery drawer quietly.
All done. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, go and check out Shark Tales. This month's episode, or the first ever episode, is called Vegan Curious, where I go and find out all about veganism and if it's...
For you.
Well, it's not just if it's for me. It's actually to see, just to learn more about it and actually not be a dick about it and actually go and talk to people and find out.
It's going to be a struggle.
It's interesting. No, I spoke to 3 different people about veganism, spoke to 3 different businesses, and I came up with my summary at the end. Cool. And, it was fun.
Looking forward to it.
Good. Thanks, mate. Go and check that out, your favourite podcast subscriber. It's called Shark Tales.
Nice.
By Jay Leshark. Not Russell. I love you, Russell.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Bye.